Hello friends and welcome to this video. In this video we will see how we can create REST API using Spring. As you might be already aware, REST APIs are based on HTTP methods like post, get, put and delete. So in this video we will see how we can create APIs for CRUD operations like create, read, update and delete using these HTTP methods endpoints like get endpoint, put endpoint, post endpoint and delete endpoint. So first step is to create a Spring Boot project. In my earlier video, I have already shown how we can create a Spring Boot project using a Spring Boot initializer. If you want, you can refer the same video for creating the Spring Boot project. To save the time, I have already created the Spring Boot project and imported in my workspace. First, I will show you the dependencies which I have imported. So let's go to the form file. So this is my form file where you can see I have a Spring Boot starter web dependency. I have a dev tools and test. Spring Boot starter test dependency. So the main and important one is the Spring Boot starter web for creating the REST endpoint. And you can include these three from the Spring Boot initializers and start creating the REST. So this is my project and I have this one package controller. Inside that controller I have created this REST API controller from where I will define my all the endpoints for the CRUD operations. So let's start to create the REST endpoints. So the first step is to create a REST controller. Okay, so to create a REST controller we have to define one annotation, that is get REST controller. We will import the required packages for that, and then we will also define a request mapping for this controller. So let's define our context router slash rest, put the required packages for this. Till now what we have done is we have annotated this class with two annotations. One is the REST controller, so that will make this class act as a REST controller or the controller for the REST API. And then the another annotation request mapping for which we have given the value slash rest. So this will define that all the requests will have slash rest in the URL, okay, will be routed to this controller. Okay. So now we will start creating our endpoint methods. To make see, I will keep this file or this video very simple. We will not be using any Spring Data JPA. Okay. Just we will focus on creating the endpoints for the CRUD operations. Okay. So, but to make little practical or to understand good understanding of the concept, we will use in-memory store in the form of hash map. Data store. So this is our in-memory store. We will be using this in-memory store data store in our APIs to store the data and we will be performing all the CRUD operations also using this data store. So first endpoint which we will be creating will be the post endpoint, which will basically create our data. This is our method, create data, and we'll expect the input, the request body, which we can it will be in a JSON format. So we'll be using the JSON node as a data type. We will annotate it response body annotation. So this will denote that this input will come as a request body. So response body will be a request body. Okay. So this will denote that this method will expect request body as an input. Okay. So once we are getting the input, storing at the data store. Output. We are assuming over here that the request body will contain the input in the form of JSON, which will have a key, which will contain the key to be stored in the hash file, and also the corresponding value. So also these value will be of type string. This is the assumption we are taking. So once we are putting the value in the our memory data store, we will be returning the response. And we can also send the HTTP status. Okay, this will denote the status as 200. So everything is performed as expected. So this is our method to create a data. So now to expose this method as a post endpoint, we will integrate it with post mapping. Name it as create data. So this is our create data endpoint, which will create the data. Now the next endpoint which we are going to create is for fetching the data. what we will do is we will return all the data which is stored in our this data store. So the response entity or the return type for this method will be same as the type of our data store. From data store we will be having the status this is our method get data. Let's export it as a get endpoint. First we will be using get mapping annotation. Now we have to define the path for give us as get data. Okay, so now we have created two endpoints. One is for creating the data, and another for getting the data which we have stored in the data. So this is the post and the get endpoint. Now the next one which we will be doing is the, for the update. Okay. So for the update, we will be using the uh, put mapping annotations. Okay. So this will be almost same as the post mapping or what we have done for creating the data. Just copy it and change the method name and also the endpoint. Okay. So what we're doing is we will be getting the data as a request body, and then we will be updating the data in the data store based on the key. Here change the message of instead of post mapping will be so this is our endpoint for updating the data. Now the last one which is the endpoint for deleting the data. So we will be deleting based on the key. After deletion is successful, we will be returning a message in the form of string. For deleting, we will be expecting input which will tell us which key we have to delete from the data. So once that key is remove it. And then we will return the message. let's suppose it as an endpoint, as a delete endpoint. We will use delete nothing annotation. We can map this endpoint as nothing. Sorry, so these are the four endpoints which we have created to create data, get data, update data, and then delete it. Let's just save it. So once again, as a recap, you can see we are using this equations as post mapping, get mapping, put mapping, and delete mapping for defining these endpoints. Now let's just build our project and run these endpoints in post mapping. Build, run it. The application is started on port number 8080. Okay. Let's go to our post local host slash best slash get data. Okay. So we are getting the response is empty because we haven't created any data yet. So now let's first create some data using our post endpoint. So for that we have selected post as some HTTP meta type, then local create data. Okay. So this is the endpoint which we have defined in our controller. Okay. Rest and then create data. Now inside our request body, we have to define the data in the form of JSON. So let's say E1 and value will be value 1. This is our data which we want to insert in our memory data store. Let's send it. So we are getting the message response as data saved successfully. And now let's go back to our get endpoint and let's see whether we are getting any response. So this is the data which we have saved and we are getting its value as over here. Now let's store one more value. Give it as key name and save it. Now if you go back to the get endpoint, you will get these two values. So now let's move to a third endpoint which was the update. for update we will use put update. So request accordingly is similar to post, you copy it from here. Okay, so now this key2 we can rename it as a or name the value as value. So our data updated successfully. Now we go back to our get endpoint. Key2 value is changed to value 3. Okay. So now let's test our last endpoint, which is the delete. For deletion, we will select type as delete. Local host 80 test data. So here we have to also provide the key. In the delete data, we have to provide the key which we want to delete. So in the endpoint, capital, provide the parameters. We want to delete 2. So out of these two, key 2 needs to be deleted. Let's run it. Data deleted. Now we go back to our get endpoint. Key 2 has been removed. So these are the 4 endpoints for our CRUD operations. We have seen it was the get endpoint, fetch the data, then we have post endpoint to create, put endpoint to update the data, and at last we have delete the data. So this example was a very simple example. We haven't tried any JPA integration. But in coming videos, I will show you how to integrate with the database and do these operations, CRUD operations on the database table. So for now, I hope this video have given you the basic understanding of the annotations which we need to use to create the REST APIs. These REST controller request mapping, post mapping, get mapping, put mapping, and delete mapping. These are very important annotations while creating the REST APIs. I hope you must have got a better understanding of REST APIs. So please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.